Kathy. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Selfish Talk with Chanel. I am Chanel, if you didn't know who I was, and I'm super excited to be with you. But listen, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go and I need you to share the stream right now. I too am hopping on and I'm making sure that I share the stream to all the socials. We want to let people know that we are on tonight. I suspect that tonight's conversation is going to be some really good conversation. So let me switch up my lighting real quick. Make sure y'all can see me. But do me a favor and go ahead and share the stream to everywhere you know. We want to let people know that we are on tonight to tell them to tune in. Tonight is going to be a great conversation. One, because I'm on with my sissy. See, I can't even talk. I'm on with my bestie. Well, that works, right? My bestie and my sissy.
Yeah, it works.
So I'm on with my sissy, okay? I'm on with my sissy. Listen, y'all are in for a treat tonight because we are talking about authenticity. And one thing that we've learned to do in our friendship is to operate in authenticity. And that is going to come out in our conversation. So I'm telling y'all right now, don't get on here and start judging us because Brittnee and Chanel about to have some conversation and we don't know how this conversation is going to go. We didn't prepare for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm over here like, whew.
We didn't have no preparations. We just jumping on here and we are about to have some good conversation. Danita, I see you. Thank you for jumping on. If you are watching with us tonight, drop a comment. Let us know that you're here with us. And so first of all, y'all, as I start out with all of these Selfish Talk podcasts, I have one question for you. Why you ain't registered for the conference yet? Like, I just don't understand the conference. Listen, this is the month, y'all. This is the month for the Girl Be okay, the Selfish Conference, but Girl Be Selfish is the book that we're releasing. See, we're gonna be all the way authentic tonight. And so, listen, if you have not registered, VIP registration is closed at this point. But listen, you can still get in where you fit in with regular registration. Make sure that you go ahead and register. Registration is just $99 and you get the whole experience. You want to go to www.oasiswellnessgrp.org and click on RL Conference 2024 and make sure you secure your spot today. It would be a shame for you to not be there. A shame. Let me tell y'all, we not only do we have some phenomenal speakers, I secured a DJ, y'all. Like, it's an all-female affair. I have a female DJ, okay? She's going to be on the ones and twos. She's going to be emceeing the day. I have a female photographer. Like, it's going to be the ladies' show. We are going to show up and show out. There's going to be lunch. Listen, we have self-care stations. We have workshops going on. We're just going to have an all-around good time. So I need you to register. But after today's conversation, I know you're going to be convinced because I am on today with the Brittnee N. Smith Brittnee N. Smith, MBA. Can't forget the letters behind her name. MBA, the brand strategist to the nations. And so I'm super excited because Brittnee is going to be our conference moderator. She's going to be our conference moderator. So, Brittnee, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are.
Oh my. Hello, I am the Brittnee N. Smith. All the things that Chanel said, I am those. I am them. Those things. I am also a mama of two amazing girls. I am a wife of an amazing man of God. I go to an amazing church where I am the elder there as well. And I'm also the newly appointed director of marketing at Creative Change Counseling.
Well, all right.
So, I wear a lot of hats and everything, but I'm super excited to be here. And the thing that I love most is helping people like y'all
Come on.
get your lives together as far as it relates to wearing all the hats and how to do that authentically. Everything I point to is pointing to how to wear all the hats authentically. So super excited to be here. And as Chanel said, I don't know how this conversation is going to go. So if your feet feel crunched, just know it's in love because we understand.
Listen, we understand like so much so. So I think this is a kind of a great way to start out. We're talking about authenticity. And so when I logged on today, I informed Brittnee that I can't see today. So I don't know if I look a mess right now. My eyes decided they wanted to water and mucus all day for whatever reason. I think like my contacts or whatever the case is. And so I was just like, we talking about authenticity today. And so I am showing up as my authentic self.
Blind.
But
Authentically, I am blind.
that's the word. Authentically blind. You better write that down and preach that.
You preach it.
That is a word. Authentically blind. So y'all
Lord.
listen. What I love though about me and Brittany's relationship is that we have grown into this space of just really allowing ourselves to let it all hang out in front of each other, right? We have the opportunity to live together, to grow together in ministry, and to grow together in friendship. And as we tackle the topic of authenticity today, I'm going to be kind of intentional. We're going to, find ways to bring in even how our relationship had developed into that because, that's all a part of authenticity. And I think for women in particular, when we talk about this idea of being selfish, right? When we talk about this idea, authentic relationships are huge. Authentic relationships in your life are huge. When we talk about the idea of self-care, we all try to do it by ourselves, right? I feel my therapist coming on now I'm good now. We all try to do it by ourselves. Like we have this idea, the enemy tricks us into isolating when we go through things. The reality is that none of us were born an island, and we were created to be relational beings. And the moment that we're not able to find authentic relationships or whatever the case is, once the enemy gets us in that place of isolation, it is the worst place for you to be in. You have nobody to challenge your thinking. You have nobody to challenge your worldview. You have nobody to challenge your way of life. And hear me, y'all, hear me clearly. That is a dangerous place to be in. Brittnee, do you want to speak to that?
Oh my. So yes, because when you're in that space of isolation, especially as a creative person, you make up a lot of stuff.
Oh, come
You
on
make
here.
you make up so many things and you begin to live in this false reality, right? Like you think people are seeing you a certain way, you think you look a certain way, you think that your life is a certain way. And then you start to respond to the false reality
Come on.
while operating in the real world. And people are
Come
like, what is going on? And so authentic relationships serve as a lifesaver. Like the literal thing that they throw out when you're drowning, right? Like the
on.
authentic relationships are able to really reach out and grab you when you're in that drowning place
Mm-hmm.
because you know you're drowning. People see you're drowning, but you're also like, I don't need help because I'm good. But a
Mm-hmm.
real friend, an authentic friend, a friend that knows who you are for real, will be able to see through all of that and get in the pool with you and
Mm-hmm.
help you get back to shore before you kill yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Whew, that's good. You said get back to shore before you kill yourself. One of the things that we have to understand in when we talk about authentic relationships is looking at you also have to be receiving and receptive. You have to be open to the people who are around you speaking in your life, right? Which then leads me to making sure that you have safe people in your life. Everybody does not fit the bill. Come on, y'all. Everybody does not fit the bill to be that person in your life. I have friends and then I have 911 people. Brittnee is one of my 911 people. She's one of the people that if she jumps into the pool with me, I'm like, okay, something is wrong. And let me just let her, let her grab me and swim back to shore while she's dragging me along because I can receive that from her because she's been a safe person in my life. She showed up in every season of my life. Problem is for one of us, for a lot of us, hold on one second, for a lot of us, is we relinquish that power to the wrong people. And then we become distrusting because that person couldn't handle your authenticity. That person couldn't, didn't have the capacity. That's the word I'm looking for. They didn't have the capacity to do what you needed in that season. And so now you're like, you know what, forget it. I don't trust nobody. I don't want to allow anybody in my life. It is your responsibility to make sure that in the good seasons of your life, you're cultivating relationships with the authentic people. You're cultivating relationships with the safe people so that when those seasons of your life come that we rather not have, those people are already in place and in position. Go ahead. What was you going to say?
I was going to ask, how do we know if two questions. How do we know someone is a safe person? Or when thinking about our relationship, how did we become each other's safe people? Because I feel like you
Mm-hmm.
don't meet somebody and they're like automatically safe, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a process that you have to go through with that person. There's something that they have to prove or show, some kind of receipt
Mm-hmm.
to show that
Mm-hmm.
they're a safe person. So talk about that from your experience. What
Mm-hmm.
made me safe over time?
Mm. Um, that's a good question. I was not prepared for that question. So here's what I'm gonna say. I think for me, it was the consistency of you showing up in my life. That I think made a huge difference for me. It was the consistency of you showing up, and not just the consistency of you showing up, the consistency of how you showed up, right? Like you weren't this way in church, but then this way when you showed up in my life, but then this way when you were with other people. I felt that no matter where you were, who you were talking to, or whatever it looked like, I knew that you had my best interest at heart, right? For me, and this is not the case for everybody, right? For everybody, this is not going to work. But for me, the fact that you were willing to call me to the carpet on some of my stuff, right? That made a difference, right? And there was this natural, so, we call it the Holy Spirit. Some people call it intuition, call it what you want, but there's this natural knowing on the inside, right? And so there's some people that would try to call me to the carpet and Big Shade is manifesting. Because first of all, who you think you is? Why is you even talking to me? First of all, but there was something about when you would do it, my spirit was settled. And I knew that you were positioned in my life for such. And the other side is knowing that you were a safe person for me, is that I felt like I also had the same place in your life. Because it's one thing for you to be able to be that to me, but then I can't speak into your life. I can't, call you to the carpet on your stuff or whatever. For me, that would have been an unbalanced relationship. But knowing that it was reciprocal all the way around. And that made a difference knowing. And because let's be real, like we've been through some real stuff. Like I'm talking about thinking we're gonna die stuff.
Thinking we gonna die stuff. But also, you remember when we had that moment of like where it was like jealousy slash comparison, and we over here like, well, I don't know if she liked me like that, and I had this dream,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. And then we like eventually we had to talk about it because it was like, okay, this is
This
dumb.
is stupid.
But our relationship has been tested,
Yes.
like in a real in a
That's
real
come on
way.
in a real
Um,
way.
and so for me, I think that's what it was for me. The different tests that our relationship has gone through,
Mm-hmm.
and still at the end of it, we're like, all right, what we gonna eat? It's like,
That part.
okay, and to your
That part.
point, the way that I love on people, I watch for reciprocity, not in the sense like, oh, what you want to do for me, but I don't ask for much, right? And I try
Mhm.
not to. That's just who I am. And so to see you check for me, even when I'm not calling out,
Mhm.
when I'm going through those moments, you picking me up in the spirit.
Mhm.
I think about those things and I'm like, okay, yeah, she's a real one. Like she knows
Mhm.
me, she sees me.
Mhm.
When I said this to somebody else the other day, that people that really, really, really know you can
Mhm.
pick up the phone, and when you say hello, they know something's off.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think of countless moments over the last couple of months where I would show up at an event doing my thing, but on the inside, I'm like, "Wah!"
Mhm.
And not one person would say, "Hey, is everything okay?" Or they wouldn't check or anything. But
Mhm.
then I'll get on the huddle at work the next day, and then somebody will hit me up right after and say, "What's going on? You sounded different on the huddle." Like,
Mhm.
those are the people that I'm like, "Okay, they pay attention to me."
Mhm.
And I don't do it for that, but I notice. And for me,
Mhm.
that lets me know that you care about me as a person.
Yeah.
So like you said, you match energy in all the
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
honestly. Like,
Yeah.
and
And you know what's so funny about that is because we say it all the time, but we're literally the same person.
yeah.
And I don't like it's hard to explain that to people. I don't think people really get that. But like me and Brittnee have this way of we just know what the other is thinking. Like she could be like, so yeah, and I'm like, I already know. Like, and we'll have this whole conversation without saying anything at all. Like it's just like we pick up on the same stuff. Like we could be in a room and just look at each other and we just know. Like, so I think it's like all of those things, like you said, this matching of energy, like literally to the point of completing sentences, even dumb stuff. Like it could be a joke, and we both know the joke that's in each other's head. Like it's just weird, you know what I'm saying? So there's always just this really, there's been this I don't know. There's just been this connection, like you said, that has been tested over time, or whatever the case is. And for me, and I've said this to you several times, or whatever. Oh, I'm about to get teary eyed. Okay.
Are you sure it's not the
Woo! No, it's not. For me, watching you grow as an elder and the example that you've set in so many different ways, like I can't like that. Man, that was huge for me. Watching the stages of your growth as an elder in spirituality, or whatever the case is, like, you're not just my sister friend, you're not just my bestie, but like, you're also an example to me. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, and I've shared this with you in terms of ministry, I have three people that I look to if I need to handle something ministry wise. What would Bishop do? What would Pastor do? What would my elder do?
Oh, Lord. No
No pressure.
pressure. No pressure.
But that was huge for me. And for me, that was also a shift in a relationship, because like I not only see you as such, but I receive you as such.
That's deep, man. That's deep. That's so deep. And so to me, first of all, but second of all, to me that speaks to covenant.
Mm,
That speaks to covenant, as far as like one, like you mentioned earlier, that your relationships matter,
mhm,
and they have to be handpicked because your relationships can make or break your life, right? And so when I say we're in relationship, we're doing life together. And if you're not willing to give me access to all the parts of your life, because that's how
mhm,
I love all of it. Like you gotta,
mhm.
your child just got potty trained. I'm like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Legit.
I'm here for all of it. You remember
Legit.
that time? I forget you had got some kind of news, and I'm on the other side of the text, like, dude. And I sent you a picture of my face. I'm like, yo, I'm legit. Like, that is covenant, man.
Mhm.
And like you said, the seasons of life where I want to be hard headed, the seasons of life where I want to punch Wallace in the face. Did I say that? The seasons of life, like all the things
Mhm.
I can vent to you, and I come and vent to you because I know you're going to give me level headed advice. Like
Mhm.
you're going to let me get it out, and you're
Mhm.
going to give me a yeah, girl, I know that's right. But then you can say, okay, now let's get back to it. Let's
Right.
think about it from this perspective and this perspective and this perspective. So, likewise, watching your journey, right? Like,
Mhm.
we are getting our doctoral degree. Okay. I don't care what nobody else say. Like, I'm gonna get me a little hat.
I
I'm gonna
know
throw
it's
it in my
right.
head if I show up at your graduation with a cap and a gown. Okay. Because we are getting our doctoral
Right.
degree. We're doing life together.
Yeah.
And you need people around you, and you don't need 1,000 people to do life with.
Come
That's too
on.
much.
Come on.
But I'm gonna say three good men. I got a solid three that
Mhm.
I know if I pick up the phone at 3 a.m. and say, yo, 911, that you're gonna respond and
Yep.
not just pick up the phone. You're gonna show up at my door.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
so that and that is cultivated, right?
Mhm.
You have to pour into that. You don't just
Mhm.
get that, you meet me, hey, how you doing? And then I'm showing up at your door, but you have to cultivate it as
Yeah.
the I guess recipient of that kind of relationship. I have to also cultivate it in you, right? So I have to
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
you that I'm here for you. I have to show you that I got your back. And Chanel, I think it's also important that we have to know ourselves enough to be able to communicate what we need.
Mhm.
You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? That also helps the person who you're in relationship with be able to love on you in an authentic way. If you
Yeah.
know that you don't like chocolate, don't let this person keep bringing you chocolate for your birthday. Like,
Right. Right.
like this is a silly example, but I think we also have to be comfortable communicating our needs on
Mhm.
the superficial level, but also like on the deep level.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I might need you to cry with me for a minute.
Mhm.
I might need you to like, I don't know, talk me off a ledge and make sure I don't go smoke a blunt. Like
It's real, man.
whatever it
It's
is.
so real.
Like we gotta be able to communicate that and
Mhm.
also get into the habit of creating space for people.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
2024, that's becoming an art, a
No, for
lost art,
no, for
creating space. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And and when you talk about the deeper seasons, but then also the superficial ones, it really is the superficial ones where you have to test the waters to challenge the safety, right? Because a lot of us don't spend enough time. Like, first of all, okay, let me just pull back. I just heard you, Holy Spirit. We don't cultivate relationships anymore. We are not intentional about cultivating relationships. And I know another turning point in our relationship, like when if we're talking about, it's funny how we got on authentic relationships and we were just supposed to be talking about authenticity, but whatever, God
It
knew.
counts. It counts.
But there got to a point where we were just like, all right, we can't just be this in the church space. Like, we should like find times just to hang out, even if it's just I'm going to come over to your house and sit on the couch and we're going to watch a movie or whatever the case is, even if it's, oh, I'm just going to go to dinner or whatever. But being intentional about cultivating a relationship outside of a specific space, right? Because we'll say, oh, I have my work friends, I have my church friends, I have this. And we were able to move from just being a church friend to a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And being able to cultivate those relationships is so important. And in a world, in this digital age that we're in, where you got social media, you got dating apps and stuff, nobody is really cultivating real relationship. We're taking what we see because you like my post or because I follow you online or whatever the case is, we're friends. And that is not true friendship. That is not true relationship. We have to get back to the art of cultivating relationships, right? And what's great about cultivating relationships, I tell people all the time, I challenge my clients all the time to go out and get experiences. And sometimes I'll have some of them come back and say, that was terrible. I wish I would have never did it. I'm like, no, by definition, that's great because an experience is neither good nor bad. An experience is simply a thing and it allows you to formulate an opinion off of it, right? And so if I allow myself to have the experience and I say, okay, well, that wasn't for me, but I got to experience, right? And I think about that in terms of like relationships too. As I cultivate the relationship, as we do things together, it helps me to see, okay, maybe she is a safe person, or maybe she's not. Maybe she's just the chick that I hang out with when we go to dinner sometimes because I have friends and then I got sisters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
Yeah.
a difference of those categories. And so we have to get back to the art of cultivating true get to know people. Okay,
Yeah.
like I know that we're all busy. Pencil it in. Like, we got a girls' night coming up, right? We
It's gonna
and
happen. It's
how,
gonna
listen,
happen.
how hard is it? And like, yo,
Woo.
everything comes against the schedule, and us trying to get a girls' night. But when we get them,
But listen, right? So we do our best to keep those girls' nights and put them on the calendar. But we got our group chat. We have our group text. We have our group Facebook chat, right? So even when we can't connect physically and in person, we are in contact throughout the week in our group
Right.
chat. Even if just to say, hey, pray for y'all today,
Yeah.
or like to share a stupid meme, or like whatever.
Yep.
And sometimes the group chat is quiet and it's like one or two texts. Other days it's like 80 messages off of something
Yep.
stupid, right?
Right.
So we stay in contact. So to your point, yes, we're in a digital age, and yes, cultivating relationships is not something that necessarily is naturally fitting into our schedule, but there are different modes of connecting nowadays. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm good for sending a voice note, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good for sending a prayer. Like when I'm thinking about them, I will voice note a prayer. And it's just as powerful as if we were in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like to your point that you made earlier, not allowing the enemy to cause busyness to isolate us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might be busy, but I'm always on my phone. Like
That
I can send you a text.
can you say that? We are
Okay.
always on our phone.
We're always on our phone. So
It's
like if you're
true.
thinking about me, yo, text me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like people be like, oh, you're the elder, or you don't need, or you always I need. Okay. Like if you think
Check
about
in
me,
on
yo,
me.
text me. Because you don't know. There are some moments, and this is for all of us. We all have moments where we're
Mm-hmm.
by ourselves and the darkness is consuming us, and depression is
Come
consuming
on.
us, and our to-do list is consuming us, and
Come
our
on.
health report is consuming us, and our marriage. Like we have moments of consumption more times than you think, especially those of us who are showing up like this. Yo, text me. Okay.
I know it's right. I
Because
know it's right.
we need it too.
I
Those
know
of
it's
us who
right.
are constantly pouring in, I just believe, Chanel, that the people that are drawn to this space right here are
Mm,
the ones who are pouring.
mm,
We're the ones, that's why you need to have a conference for us to tell us that we need to be more selfish, because we're the ones that are constantly pouring.
yeah.
We're the ones that are in the back closet or the back corner, trying to figure out how to get up the next morning, in
Mm-hmm.
some seasons. But yeah, we're still showing up for everybody else. Like, yo, text me, inbox me, send me a smoke signal. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have to do that for each other. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about cultivating relationships, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not, "Hey, Chanel, I would like to cultivate a relationship with you. So let's have a conversation." No. "Hey, Chanel, I see you struggling. Imma send
Right.
like, Imma send you some flowers
Mm-hmm.
just off the strength. Like, hey, sis, I see you."
Yeah.
Yo, like those things, that's my kind of loving on, because
Yeah.
I want not I want, but the things that minister to me the most are the things that I didn't have to prompt or act or do something for. That you loved on me strictly because I am.
Strictly because.
It's those things that minister to my spirit the most, because you was thinking
Yeah.
about me when I wasn't even thinking about me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing right there. Like when you see people
Mm-hmm.
moving, yo, tell them that you see them,
Come on.
because that's what they're gonna remember. They're not
Yeah.
gonna remember the Cash App, or necessarily they're not gonna remember the like on
Mm-hmm.
your post. There's a young lady I'm following right now. She lives states away, but I see how she's moving on social, and I know she's
Mm-hmm.
one of me. So I
Right.
I went on her voice note and was like, "Hey, sis, I just want you to know that while you're pouring into other women this week, I see you, and God is blessing you so much." And that I don't know her that well, but it meant so
Good.
much because it took somebody from the outside to see her. And y'all
Yeah.
think we get it all the time? No, we don't. People think we good, but we not.
And so this is important too. And I think, something for me, man, I've been recently having this conversation with somebody else. I don't see myself a certain way.
Ciao.
Um, I don't know how else to say that. I don't see myself a certain way. And so when things happen for me, or whatever, I just don't see myself a certain way. That's all I can say. I don't see myself a certain way. I just like, I'm just out here. I'm just doing whatever. And the people in my life that look at me like, yo, do you know who you are? Do you see the impact that you're making? And who don't find it robbery to do that, who don't feel like, okay, it's going to take away from me if I give you your flowers or I help you to see who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like those things are important. And so having people in my life that's just like, yo, say, shut up, first of all. You know what I'm saying? But then
Just
at the
like that
same
too.
time, those people, those people that I'm looking at, like, yo, like you the elder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you out here elding. Like, can't nobody eld the way you be out here elding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people who see you when you can't see yourself. People who can push you. Like, to be honest, there's some things that I probably would not have done if I didn't have people in my life in my corner. It's just like, yo, because like what? An anthology, like what? A conference? Wait, like who having a conference? Like you know what I'm saying? Just certain things. And so having people in your life to be able to say, like, yo, like, do you know who you are? Or even to give me glimpse and insight into how the world sees me. And then not feeling robbery to say, yo, but this is how I see you too, right? I think that's important, especially if we're talking about female relationships. Female relationships, that's so important because a lot of times females can be very catty towards each other, or you don't want to give another person their flowers, or you don't want to compliment somebody, or whatever the case is, because it's an insecurity and you feel like it takes away from you. But to have relationships where you could tear down all those insecurities, and it's like, listen, if you show up with the outfit, I'm gonna show up and say, okay, Sheen, like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Walmart. Okay, Target. Like, I see you sit, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that that is so super important to have that. Being willing to give another sis her flowers. We want to talk about authentic relationships. Learn to give a sis her flowers without expecting anything in return. I'm not giving you your flowers because then next week I'm expecting you to come back and give me some flower. Like, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? Just this natural, like, what I love about our relationship is like, it's just a natural give and take.
Yeah.
It's not a forced give and take. It's a natural give and take. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't have that, but that is something that is cultivated. Like, that is something that's cultivated because, like, listen, y'all, I deeply trust Brittnee and Smith with my life. Like, probably, I don't think there's too many other people who like really know me. Like, I may have like one or two other people who like really know me, like really like know that stuff or whatever the case is. But because I know that I can trust her with my life, it's a natural I want to do for her. I want her to feel celebrated. If she's down, I want her to feel better. I want her to know that I'm thinking about her. I want her to know that if I had $1 million right now, I would buy her a yacht, even though she probably doesn't need one, right? I want her to know those things. I want her to know that, man, I don't not just love you. I don't just like you. I deeply respect you. Like, I respect who you are as a person. I respect who you are as a mom. Like, even watching your journey as a mom, like sometimes I sit back and I'm like, yo, like she really out here a whole mom. She really out here momming and you doing the mom thing. Like, you getting them kids ready, you coming to church, you lugging them around. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I deeply respect that. And so, I don't know, like there's this, I want to cater to you. I want to serve you.
Ooh.
I want to show up for you. Like, it's like I can't explain it, but it's like I'm just waiting for the moment at 3 o'clock in the morning when you call me and say I need me to come. I'm like, yes, this is my moment. Let me show up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do those things for you because I know who you've been in my life. I know how I've been able to lean and not fall. I know that even in the seasons where my stuff stank, it's okay. Like, you smelling the stuff with me and we get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man.
You trying to take me out of here. That's what you're trying to do. I'm over here trying to keep my eyebrows on, okay? Because it's so like, first of all, it's overwhelming to hear you describe our relationship that way, describe me that way. Because to your very point, I don't see myself.
Come on.
Like, I'm over here like, who is she talking about?
So
Like
real.
it's so real. And so one, thank you for making me sit and listen to that. But it's so, so deep because it's still it still comes back to the word of covenant.
Mm, that's so
Where I don't even it's not something that you try to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just an innate
true.
wanting to.
Mhm,
Like you said, I want to see you win. Like,
mhm.
yo, that's why I be ready to punch you in the face. You be like, yeah, I got this thing and I need a flyer. I can't pay you. I'm like, if you don't shut up with that, like, yo, I don't, your money is no good. Why? Because when you win, I win.
Mm.
And, like, it's even crazy that you said a yacht, because like, literally today I'm driving and I promise you, I'm driving, I'm like, "Who do I know that has, like, a yacht or a boat so I can host an event?" But, like, that's how in tune we are, and
Legit.
for those of you who are watching, you might be like, "Yo, I wish I had something like that," or, "I don't have anything like that," or, "I can't trust these women, blah, blah, blah." We had to work through all of that. Because on the other side of the woman that you can't trust or that you feel like, she hating or whatever, on the other side of all of that is you.
Come on.
Like it's you. Like we are all struggling with that imposter syndrome in some way, shape, or form. We
Mhm,
are all struggling with comparing ourselves to the next person. We are all struggling with feeling like we're falling short in every area of our lives. We're all struggling
mhm,
with it. And so
mhm.
you know what, Chanel, the way that you love me, and I see Crystal's watching, Crystal, the way that you love me, Cassandra, the way that you love me, yo, like the way that y'all love me frees me up to be my authentic self. And so what that does is literally you guys are watering my plant, you're watering my flower so that I can grow and reach more people. Because
Mhm,
because I'm not because of the way y'all love me, I'm not so buried in the darkness and the weight of life
mhm,
that I'm able to see what I bring to the table,
mhm,
and I'm freed up to now take that to other tables. If that
mhm.
makes sense, right? So now, because of who my circle has allowed me to be and cultivated me to be, I'm confident in doing that for other women. So now
So good.
I'll meet people like left and right, and I'm like, you are so beautiful. Like I will random stranger compliment you to death. Like, girl, I'll talk to anybody. Like, when you guys will see when you get the book, when you get the Girls Be Selfish book, like, I am in a hot tub naked with other women that I don't even know, and we are having full-blown conversation and, like, connecting because I see what you need. Like, and
Come
because I
on.
love the way that I am, I'm free to meet the need
Come
around
on.
me.
Come on. Oof. So okay, so therapist hat back on.
Come on.
Therapist hat back on. Um, one of the biggest ways that authentic place, that freeing up to be me and all of that. One of the biggest moments, and I want to say turning points in our relationship, was the whole miscarriage episode of 2006. Um, what I want to submit to a lady out there is that vulnerability is the way in which relationships are cultivated.
Whew.
A lot of us are out here running from vulnerability.
Yeah.
Relationships are not like, yeah, okay, so I have this thing, right, when they just like group bonding, like, okay, I get it, I'm not, anybody who does group bonding, I'm not knocking it, it's great, have the activities, do the fun. People bond over vulnerability. That is how people bond, over vulnerability. It's one thing for us to sit down and let's do a trust fall, or let's do this activity where we're working together. But let me tell you something, because I've done this long enough. If I'm able to get into a room and get everybody in a circle and we start talking about some deeply vulnerable stuff, I guarantee you, when you walk away from that situation, there are going to be bonds that were built, because human nature develops relationship over vulnerability. And so for the ladies out there who are avoiding vulnerability, who is avoiding, I don't really want to talk to nobody. And I'm not telling you to go out there and tell everybody your business, but there has to be a certain level of vulnerability that we have to have and that we have to meet in order for relationships to really build. And our relationship, because I've tracked this and I thought about it, was built in some very vulnerable moments. What you see of Chanel and Brittnee today was because of some vulnerable moments where we had to be vulnerable with each other, even vulnerable to the point like, yo, I'm jealous of you. Every time you go up there and preach and like, you be like busting down the house and I'm like, I can't do that. Or whatever the case is, like, it was those moments that were turning point. So many of us are running away from it. And listen, I'm talking to a wife. You want to cultivate a deeper relationship with your spouse? It's time to get vulnerable. I'm talking to a parent. You want to cultivate deeper relationships with your children? It's time to get vulnerable. You want to cultivate deeper relationships with friends? It is time to get vulnerable. It is time out for saying that these people hold a certain place in your life and you will not be vulnerable with them. Because here's the thing, your lack of vulnerability puts me on alarm to protect myself because I can't trust you. Because there's nothing worse than being the person where I'm sitting here bearing my heart and then I look up and realize, wait a minute, I don't know anything about you. I'm sitting down telling you all my, like, you won't tell me nothing about you. And so, gonna get myself in trouble. Here's what I learned about myself, even with clients. They will teach you in school, okay, don't disclose. And I'm not saying I go out there with my clients and I tell them all like my deepest, darkest secrets, right? But what I've learned, there are certain things that I have, like, there's certain things when I share about myself, my clients have preached so deeply and our therapeutic relationship shifts because they hear now Chanel is a real person. Because your vulnerability allows you to be a real person in the eyes of somebody else who may not otherwise know you well, who may not otherwise feel safe with you. I need to know that I'm talking to a person, right? And so even though I respect Brittnee as my elder, I really do, but I know that she is a real person. So I know when I bear my heart, she understands because she's going through life too. And she also doesn't mind bearing her vulnerabilities with me as well. That was the shifting factor in the Chanel and Brittnee show, if that's what we want to call it, right? That was the shifting factor in our relationship and developing this authenticity. It was in the vulnerable moments. It wasn't, listen, because y'all don't even understand. There was a time where I was calling Brittnee like every 2 seconds because I couldn't get through the day. And here's the thing, she was going through something too. She was going through something too, but it was the vulnerability that made a difference. If you want to have better relationships, transparency is necessary, y'all. If you're not vulnerable, like even when I think about, I don't know why I keep coming back to this, but wives, be vulnerable with your husband. See, we take the standpoint, I'm good, I don't need nothing, or whatever the case is. But how much different would it be when it's just like, you know what, babe, like I need you to tell me that I'm pretty. I need you to tell me that I'm attractive to you. I need you. And we don't like saying those things because it's like, I feel whatever the case is. But what I've learned is when I've been able to, and I'm not saying I got this 100% correct, right, all the time, but I've learned in the moments where I would say to my husband, like, this is what I need specifically. He's like, because men think different. He's like, oh, that's what you need. And so now, hey, you look pretty today, babe. Like, we're working on it, y'all. We're working on it. But vulnerability. Don't run from vulnerability. Lean into vulnerability. And those relationships that you're wanting to cultivate, watch them go to another level. It makes a whole complete difference. All right. So I'm gonna get off my therapist high horse with that, but it makes a difference in the lives of relationship. If you are a business owner, if you are a ministry head or whatever, and you want to see relationship being built amongst people, you got to get people into a vulnerable space. And here's the thing, I'm not, you want to be mindful of it. Disclaimer, you got to be mindful of what's being discussed and different things like that, or whatever the case is. But there's something about vulnerability that cultivates the kind of relationships that you're looking for. Yes, ma'am.
So when I think about that season that you were talking about where you were calling every day and I was picking up, and I think about kind of to what you alluded to earlier of the honor that I felt with you entrusting me with this challenge that you were dealing with, right?
Mhm.
Knowing the severity of it, knowing the realness of it, there's a sense of honor, like, yo, she called on me, like, let me be, let me be strong, let me be, like, somebody worth leaning on. And so, even with handling vulnerability, like with us being vulnerable to our spouses or our friends
Mhm.
or whoever, when people offer their vulnerability to you, realizing how much of an honor it is
Come on.
to be
That's
the
so good.
recipient and to be trusted with that space,
That's so good.
and so it's almost like they're extending, a hand for help.
Mhm.
And by you saying, I'm going to help you, that's a huge step.
Mhm.
That's a huge step. And so, to your point, in ministry, right? When I'm talking to a young lady and she's doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I'm like, girl, me too. I was there.
Come
You
on.
know what I'm saying? Like, I was there. And it's not to tell my story just for the sake of telling it, but there's purpose behind it. To your point,
Mhm.
I'm a real person. Yo, you see me today as the elder. Like, yo, I was wilding. you know, I was wilding. Okay.
That part.
And so it to be able to show you that it was possible in my life.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, I'm grateful. I'm truly
Mhm.
grateful. And when you talk about being authentic, um, it is embracing the vulnerable parts of you as well.
Mhm.
Like, yo, I don't even have a poker face. Like, if I wanted to, like, hide my feelings and emotions, like, that's just not how I'm built.
Right.
So when I go into the workspace, like, I remember one time, one of the people on my job was like, yeah, you want to, be mindful of making sure that you are watching your relationships in the workplace and making sure they stay professional. Like, first of all, I am me in every space.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So if I walk into the boardroom, you're gonna get Brittnee Ann Smith. If I walk into the lunchroom, you're gonna get Brittnee Ann
Come
Smith.
on.
If we in the parking lot, you're gonna get Brittnee Ann Smith.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I am the same everywhere I go. Now, can I move in certain conversations and all that? Yeah. But to your point, it establishes trust.
That's
And
it.
that's a skill that's transferable in every space.
Mhm.
And the last thing I'll say is that with these relationships, the more you pour in, the more you get out. Because relationships are work.
That's it.
They're
That's
work.
it.
Just
That's it.
because I say call me at 3 a.m. and I'm gonna pick up. Yes, I'm gonna pick up, but I'm not saying like, oh, whoo, I love those 3 a.m. calls because I just whoo.
I'm calling you at 3 a.m. tonight, and you
Yeah,
better
call
answer and be
me.
happy.
I'm gonna pick up at some point. But like,
Yo, remember when we tried to do that 5 a.m. prayer challenge?
yo, we sucked. We sucked. Like, did we even do it more than once? Yo, yeah, that was horrible. We meant well though.
I'm crying for real because
We was gonna pray
we
for
were
them
super
husbands.
spiritual too. We were just like, we're gonna get up and we're gonna pray for our husbands at the cross.
Y'all, we probably did it like twice. And every day after that, we would wake up at like 7:30, like, oh shoot. Yo, all right, tomorrow we gonna do it.
Woo! Anyway, good times. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate this. It's funny because and this is not what today's conversation was meant for, but I deeply feel that authentic relationships was necessary, especially for women. Like, I want, if nothing else that y'all got out of this conversation today, I want y'all to hear the importance of social support. Of social, like, so many people struggle with social support and social relationships because I don't want people in my business, or the one I hear all the times, I don't trust people, or whatever the case is. And it's like, you got to have somebody in your life. You have to have to, if it's one person, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be 35 million people, but you gotta have true social support in your life, no matter what it is that you're going through. One of the things as therapists that we assess for when we're starting with a new client, we do the intake, we talk about symptoms and stuff, but the very next thing we assess for is, what does your social network look like? And if you do not have a positive social network, before we get into working on any symptoms or whatever, we're going to dig into building a social network, because it's your social network that's going to hold you accountable, that's going to be there for you, right? Like, we need that. You cannot survive apart from it. And people who don't have relationships, I was recently speaking on a panel, and a therapist brought up the fact that there's this new pandemic, this new mental health pandemic, and it's loneliness. It's loneliness. Now more than ever, people are more lonely than they have ever been.
Yeah.
And loneliness is literally killing people. Loneliness is ripping people's hope away. Loneliness is removing people from living fulfilled and purposeful lives. It is that important, and it is that deep. Again, even if it's just one person, I want to challenge everybody on here to think about, how can I do a better job of cultivating those relationships? The other thing I want to challenge you is, I want you to look at what relationships you have where those people may have been a better friend to you than you have been to them. And I want you to be intentional about digging into those relationships. I want you to be intentional about letting your sis know, I see you, about reaching out and saying, hey, I was just thinking about you, or whatever. Because there's nothing worse than knowing that you're the one that's pouring, 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 and you're never getting that back. That is a horrible feeling. It is a horrible feeling. So let's be intentional about especially as women. Ladies, I'm talking to us right now. Let's be intentional. Let's put aside the nonsense. Like, address stuff. If something goes wrong, just address it. Right? That's the other thing. We don't address stuff, and it's destroying relationships. Address it. Something's
Address
wrong.
it. Address it.
Something's
Because
wrong.
either you can, either other person is going to acknowledge what you said and say, yeah, girl, that was messed up, or yeah, it is an issue. Or they're gonna be like, girl, that's dumb. I wouldn't even think about that. And that's mostly that's you what it is. You might be over here like, I did this with Nikki the other day. She watching too. I said, hey, I said this, but I didn't mean anything by it. I sent her this long paragraph. And then this is what we do, right? Because she didn't respond like quickly.
I already know what
So
you're gonna
I'm
say.
sitting over here like, oh dang, I done
Oh
messed up.
my
She
god.
mad. She over there, she ain't never gonna do my hair again. And she probably telling everybody that I suck. Like, she got back to me later, like, girl, I'm just not saying this. I know what you meant. It's all good. We fine. And I was like, oh. I'm stupid, like, oh. We will make up
Yep.
the fallout in our heads, and that will
Yep.
talk us out of connecting and just making sure that we're straight. If
It's
you're a real
true.
friend, like, it's gonna take a lot for me to like really just get rid of you and be like, no, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because life is so short that it's really nothing is that deep, y'all.
Nothing.
Nothing is that deep.
Nothing.
Like, you can, it can be a mistake, whatever. Like, there's nothing that's that deep that's not worth working out for your relationship.
Nothing.
Nothing's that deep. So I also wanted to add a layer to Chanel's homework, to text somebody tonight.
Listen.
Text somebody tonight and tell
Mm-hmm.
them how you appreciate them, or something that you love about them, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because tomorrow's not promised. You might be like, okay, yeah, fine.
Promise.
I'm gonna reach out to Kiki next week. Nah, tonight.
And next week never comes. And
Okay,
next week
because
never
why?
comes.
Because life gets busy.
Listen.
That's why we're here now, because life gets busy. How is it that in 2024, where all the social media outlets are outletting, and we have everything at our fingertips, and like she said, the number one pandemic right now in mental health is
It's
loneliness.
loneliness.
How? Because we're too busy.
Yeah.
Slow down and love on somebody.
Slow down and love on somebody and address the issues.
Address the
I,
issue.
I just remember back in December, when we went to that concert, and I had dropped it in a group chat, and we were sitting in a concert, and the camera texts us like, why like why tell me, oh, y'all just out here hanging out at the concert, and y'all just left me out or whatever, when truth of the matter is, y'all, she just didn't see my message, because I definitely told her about it. But I appreciate that. Her feeling like, hold up, because she could have sat there and fessed it and be like, oh, Oh, so I guess I'm just
For
not a friend no more.
real.
I
For
guess,
real.
they just don't care about me anymore. She was just like, I'm group chatting y'all. Y'all out
Right.
having living y'all best life, having a good old time, and they tell me about the conference. Now we had the screenshot and prove to her that you missed the messages, but that's how it should be. Instead of sitting down and festering over, oh, this may have happened or whatever, it's like, first of all,
We be
no, y'all
festering.
didn't.
We be
No, y'all
festering.
didn't. And we were able to move on. You know what I'm saying? So just listen. Like Nakira said, it took years. It took years, but here we are. And now I have no problem addressing anything with y'all. Like, whatever. Don't leave me out. Don't talk to me like that. Don't look at me like that. Why'd you walk by me and your breath stink? Like, literally. Like,
No, for real.
I'm not gonna even tell y'all the topic of what most of my conversations are, because y'all just wouldn't, y'all wouldn't believe it, but it's TMI anyway. But listen, y'all, cultivating good relationships, authentic relationships, healthy relationships. It is necessary for us, especially as women, as people. You were not created to do life alone. So stop trying to do life alone. And here's what I'm going to say. Even outside of my husband is my best friend. Obviously, that's my spouse. But I need somebody outside of him too. I love my man. But I need somebody outside of him too to talk with. Because my man is not going to tarry with me. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna do certain things with me. And truth of the matter is sometimes I just want some girl time. You know what I'm saying? So
We
just
need
make
it.
sure that we are intentional in this season. And so, Brittnee, what is one nugget, as we talked about? We're supposed to be talking about authenticity, but whatever. What is one nugget that you would leave with the viewers today as it pertains to authentic relationships?
Simple. Simple, kind of simple. No one can be a more authentic friend to you than you can be to yourself.
Mm,
One of the things that I've noticed over the years in talking with people in ministry and walking with people is you're not a good friend when you loathe yourself. Like
mm,
you can't pour
mhm,
when you don't like yourself or you're not a friend to yourself. So when we tie it back to the title of the conference, selfish,
mhm,
you got to be decent as a person within yourself. Be good with yourself so
mhm.
that you can be a healthy connection
Come on.
to the people around you.
Come on.
I know personally when there's a person who is sour, kind of rotten from the inside out, like you can tell that they're just not pleasant to be around. Now you
Mm,
see that they need the love, you see that that they have the makings of a good connection, but they can't get past how they
mhm,
feel toward themselves, even with your pouring and your encouraging and all of that. Like some people are committed to loathing themselves.
mm.
You got to get good with yourself.
That's
Take
good.
yourself to the movies, okay? Do like this is what I've been doing. I've been movieing, I've been doing puzzles, I've been just chilling and getting good with just being by myself
Mhm,
so that I'm a healthy friend for Chanel. I'm a
mhm,
healthy friend for Nakira, for Crystal, for whoever. Like that would be my parting words would
mhm,
be an authentic friend to yourself first so that
mhm.
you can be an authentic friend to those around you.
Yeah, and I told you this before, but the therapist friend in me is so proud of you for doing puzzles and going to the movies and stuff. Like, I don't know. When I see my people showing up in that way, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because those are the things. Do the
Yeah.
things, y'all. Do the things. So, Brittnee, thank you so much for being my guest today. Listen, I have this dope idea. I don't know if it's going to be a part of the conference next year or whatever, but I want to have maybe me, you, and Nakira, get ready, but have a conversation about a panel or something on sisterhood
Yeah.
and developing these relationships. Like there's something around mother-daughter relationships. There's something around friend relationships or whatever the case is, and just having conversation around that. So I think we're gonna make that happen. I don't know what context it's gonna be in, but we're gonna make that happen. So thank you. Listen, if y'all don't know, Brittnee is the moderator for our Selfish Fight panel at the conference. Let me tell y'all something. I already know the panel is gonna be fire. strategically place Brittnee as the moderator for the panel because I already know how listen, I already know how the conversation is gonna go. So I'm super excited, y'all. Like, listen, if you have not registered for the conference, why?
What is you doing?
Like, why? Okay. You know what? We're gonna do a video and we're just gonna look at you like, why you ain't registered yet?
What my double chin?
It's gonna be so good, ladies. Everything that we've been talking about, this concept of selfish, we have to show up better. And when we learn to be selfish, right? Not selfish, but selfish, and learn how to cultivate things within ourselves, we show up so much better as a people and we become better citizens of the world so that we can perform all the roles and different things that we have. So many of us are pouring, not even from an empty cup, like you dry, you eczema and psoriasis dry, and you trying to out here do stuff, but your skin is flaking.
Ew.
I want y'all to get.
Well, folks, thank you for tuning in. Okay.
Don't be flaky out here. Register for the conference. Listen, go to www. I'm gonna drop it in the chat and then I'm gonna go because I don't know where this is about to go on some real stuff. But go to www.oasiswellnessgrp.org and click on Rhythm of Life Conference and make sure that you register today because I'm telling you, it's going to be life changing. It's going to be life changing. The stuff that we have, the stuff that we're going to be dropping, all the nuggets, it's just going to be an experience, y'all. It's going to be an experience of women supporting women, women helping women, and we're bringing a fire. And we're going to have fun while we do it. And we're going to be cute while we do it. So listen, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope that today's conversation was helpful for you. I hope that you got something out of it. And I hope that you were empowered to go and cultivate some relationships. Go and apologize to somebody. Go and rekindle that relationship that you know that shouldn't have ended or whatever the case is. But whatever, y'all, like Brittnee said, life is just way too short for all of it. So let's do something different in this season and make sure that we overcome the pandemic of loneliness and we love on each other. And as we love on each other, we're able to receive that love back. And so I love y'all. I do. That's why I showed up half blind with mucus coming out of my eyes, tired on a Monday night after a long weekend. Because I love y'all. So listen, I will be back with you again. We won't be back next Monday, but the following Monday, we are going to be wrapping up our Selfish Talk season with none other than the Dr. Joy Morgan. Listen, that is my pastor mama, y'all. I'm super excited. We're going to be together on April 15th, Monday, April 15th, and we're going to have an amazing conversation about selfish destiny. Ooh. And walking in your purpose and all of the things. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you register for the conference, and I'll be talking to you soon. And as I always say, stay selfish. Bye, everybody. Love y'all.